Hello. Hey, Ash.
Hey Chris, how's it going?
Good. Sipping on this coffee, hanging out with my buddy. Welcome back
Yes.
to What the fUX, where we
Oh,
talk a lot about anything we want because it's our show. Point blank, there's a lot to unpack in a lot of different directions, and we do this every day.
we often stop to think what the fUX, and we want to share all those insights, curiosities, and moments, and hopefully like takeaways with you too.
Hmm.
And so, Miss Vanna,
Hey, girl.
we gonna hit that wheel.
So, anyways, horizontal spin, vertical spin. That's a 360-degree spin. It almost sounds like an anime attack.
Sick. I
Yeah.
just like, yep. I'm spinning a wheel now. I don't
Yeah.
know. Everyone's spinning. It's all
Yeah.
madness.
My head is spinning.
Uh, all right, and we've landed on portfolios. Why the
Okay.
fucks? Why the fUX?
So what do we
Let's
mean by
do it.
that? I have an idea in my head. Is
Go
it
for it.
is it is are we asking what the fUX on portfolios in terms of living document? I mean, let's not get into how often you should update it. You should aim to update it as frequently as possible. Try.
Nobody does
Sometimes
that.
sometimes some people end up
No.
having to do an all-nighter or two when like stuff has to get, and I have a flow for it now. Maybe we should talk about that one day. But anyways, when push comes to shove and you've got either a deadline or maybe you've got an interview coming, or you know that on
Yeah.
the horizon's coming for a transition and you need to get X amount of cases or just like this really one good case into your portfolio, it's a really great opportunity for you to showcase yourself without bragging too much. And plus, people love stories, right? As like, if you want to talk or think about this idea of portfolios all look the same, da 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 da. Okay, well, first of all, storytelling is key. Second of all, how much space you take or how little space you take in order to tell a succinct story is it's subjective. I think if you can capture the who, what, where, when, and why, and make it digestible without being too crazy. But I mean, if your case study is like boom, 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 boom versus, well, why? And I'm not going to poo-poo on that. I just want to know, as long as the who, what, where, when, and why is in there, and you're telling me the reason for all of your decisions. I'm here for it, and I will look through that. And
Yeah.
when I've done some recruiting, I enjoy that. And so, telling a story is key. How you tell it is, I think, part of the fun. And then in terms of like what platforms do I like, use whatever, but I will say, don't use Adobe Portfolio if you can, if you can, if you can. I don't. It's not my It's not my preference. And wait a minute.
It's what I use, but because I
But we've
don't know
talked
how to
about that.
port. But no, let's wait. But I think you've raised some. May I? Or did
Yes,
I
yes,
steal
yes,
your
yes.
thunder here?
We can
So I
work on your
think
portfolio sometime. Go on. Sorry.
So I think one of the things that I thought of immediately as someone who's a researcher, right,
Yeah.
in UX, and people are like, "Do you need one? Don't you need one?" And I mean, here's the thing about like getting opinions on social media. Everyone's going to have one, and it may or may not resonate with you. So here's my take. Back in the golden times of UX research, many a year ago, it was the thing that got me interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most researchers did not. I
Mm-hmm.
was the oddity by doing it. I didn't roll up and be like, I want to be unique and have a portfolio. No, girl, I just didn't know what the shit. I was like, UX, I don't know, I'm going to make one. And I used things from yes, I did online training, again, 100 years ago, to when I pivoted out of my clinical and academic career, I was like, I need to know some terms. And all I had were case studies that were based off what I learned at school. But what I added to it was my flair about me, how I thought about the problem, and how I got through each of the ideation to delivery. That has been the part that, in all these years of updating and progressing and finding different platforms, that is the thing that is the shining star. You can see about my logic, you can see about my flow. Succinct, you betcha. It's like boom, 4 lines, this is what's up, and like working through how I work through. And so you know about me and my process, and you know if you want to go there. what it does that exceeds the CV or the resume is it gives people an insight into your thought process. And full T, like portfolios are a nightmare to put together. Chris knows, he helped me with mine. He's like, yikes. Like I found the notes from when back in times, like 100 years ago when we met at like a social, right?
Yeah.
Like when that was a thing in networking and UX here in Toronto. And I was like, Christopher notes about portfolio to do. And I found that like a month ago, and I'm like, tears, because Chris knows a shit ton and he's a great teacher and a mentor. I knew nothing. I knew I needed one. I knew what I had was messy, and knew I didn't know how to make it better. And so I found someone to help me. This is a show me moment, and it is awesome, and it is hard, and it takes a lot of work. And I've had lots of people reach out to me on social media and be like, yo, like, how do I start? Start.
Yeah.
It will be busted, and just be at peace with that. Start and then edit and then iterate. That's what's up. And you'll get
that.
there, you know?
Yeah.
Coffee.
Cha-ching!
Coffee!
I love what you were saying. And then like quick rewind, like I forget, sometimes I forget that I'm a designer, and like I love new tools and stuff like that. So to highlight that and plus one where you were at and like the power of choice and stuff, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you use as long as it is putting your work and you in the best light. So even if you use Notion, even if you use a slide deck,
Whatever's
doesn't matter.
easiest for you to learn. If you got no background, that's why I picked, oh my God, it doesn't even exist anymore. It was made specifically for people in UX. It was a platform that made portfolios for people in UX, and it was free because I was broke and I needed a thing, and it like showed you where to put stuff. That was my very first one, and then I went with Adobe years later because that shut down. Moving a whole portfolio to a new platform. It's a bad day.
There's things there's things that some people don't know, and some people need to be reminded of. Document and back up everything you have all the time. Please
I didn't.
do it.
It was awful.
Right. Sometimes that happens to you, and other times I had a student who had a coworker worked for 4 years at a company. They were a developer, and that company was acquired, and there were layoffs. This is pre-pandemic, pre-mass layoffs, right? That happened. That person lost 4 years of their work life, all gone. Okay,
Busted.
I need you to feel that. I'm not you. No,
actually. I do though. It hurts.
You need to feel that. Can you understand? Like I'm sure you can, but like think about that. All of that work lost. Now, document your work early and often, even if it's just whatever works for you. Write it down, audio it to yourself, use a dictation, AI dictation program or whatever. Use it, do it, and then leave the breadcrumbs for yourself so that you can reassemble and bring yourself back to those moments to be able to fill in the who, what, when, where, why. I love the challenge of working on your portfolio, and I've been in a process myself of like upgrading it and like looking at my current stuff now. There are areas that are fine and areas that need to come up to that level because I want to tell a cohesive story throughout all my work and different cases. So that it brings value from a storytelling perspective, and so people can get insight into how I work and why I do what I do. So whatever you use, cool. Whether it's Webflow, Framer, Adobe Portfolio, Notion, UXfolio, Squarespace, which I'm currently on, and I'm migrating away from that. Wherever you're at, use whatever feels like you can get it done, so that you can just get there. And when you get there, you can always iterate on it, or you can migrate away. I had a student who went from Editor X, Webflow, Framer, something else, and then they landed on Wix. And there's nothing wrong with that, but at least they tried, and they were pushing to get to that place where I need to have my content go into a place that I can control, and I need to feel like I have full control over this because I'm the master of my story. I need to be able to have that full control. And she got there, and her portfolio looks awesome. So, and she's a researcher too. Anyways.
Dope. But yes, and I think one of the things that kind of stuck out for me in that one too is like, it's like, how did you think, not what did you do?
Yes.
If that makes sense. So how did I solve a problem about this product that had a
Yeah.
history of doing these things terribly is not naming, it's not it's not identifying content, but you can get at how you thought it through. It's about you, it's not about that, it's not about them, it's even not even so much about, it's not the product you were working on, it's how did you think and how
Yes.
did you accomplish, who are you. You're trying to answer the question, who are you, by
Hmm.
showing something.
Yes.
But thinking about how you knock that into a portfolio, like if you can make a blurb about, like, as you go through your job whenever you take a minute, or if you're starting to think about moving positions, or you're like, I've been here a year, when you do your self checks or your checks with your supervisors or whatever, that's good timing to sit down and start thinking about ways to create content or notes to update, because you're
Yeah.
doing it anyway. Giving yourself that space and time, and even like, yeah, tethering it to other activities that are built around that in your workday, it can be helpful
Yes. Plus
strategy
one.
wise.
I love that. It's critical to make sure that you give yourself some time to, whether you like it or not. It's like, without our work, how
It's
do we
not
present?
fun.
Right. But it's a huge freaking achievement when you bring it all together and it's ready. Like there's I can't really compare it to anything else because it's the fruit of that kind of labor, of that challenging exercise. And to those people who might be afraid of, okay, well, if I can't name the company, like Ashley was saying it, you can still frame and contain what you did for a project. You can still do that. You just got to work through it and, I guess like remove certain names and potentially not use certain visuals. But sometimes you can diagram stuff. There are ways about this.
Don't heavy lift. If you don't know how to make web pages, this is not the time, because you're going to be stressed the out
Yeah,
just
and you
getting
don't
your
need to
shit
be.
together.
Thank goodness for no code solutions now. You don't
Yo,
have to be a designer in order to bring something that's meaningful and can paint you in the best light. You don't have to do that. So much of the heavy lift, I named them already. There's a bunch of them. You don't have to worry about that. There was something else. Ooh, there was something else that you just said that was
yeah,
I can't remember, but you'll be all right.
it's okay.
You'll be all right. And like, hey,
Get
if you have more questions,
started.
you can ask us.
Get
Yes,
started.
and get started.
That's it. And that's what the fUX about portfolios brought to
Yeah.
you by Chris and Ash, who have
Yes.
had a lot of them and continue to work on them because iteration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By all means, reach out to us if there was something about this that resonated with you, or you want to you want to like ask us and dig into more. By all means, because like I get these types of reach out
Same.
questions over LinkedIn and social, and it's fun when we see people trying to contextualize what they're doing, and so we're here for you. Yeah,
And you'll get
thus,
it. You'll get there.
you will
And
get.
thanks for joining us on our journey to wherever we went today.
That's right, and the friends we made along the way were ourselves and you. So,
I made a friend with myself.
you
She's
should
all
love
right.
yourself.
We
You
should.
know, I love myself enough to have a sip of this coffee. Till next time, I'm Chris.
I'm Ash, and we need a sign off that isn't
Poops.
shit. Poop. Poop.
We don't need a poopy one. We need one that's not poopy.